to my channel. My name is Ida and today I'm gonna share with you my list of the most anticipated new book releases for next year, so 2025. And it's been a while since I've been sitting in front of my camera. I've been traveling in December and then just spending Christmas with my family. So yeah, I hope everyone has had a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. And let's just get right into it because I have a long list of books. I will say most of them are going to be romance books, and that's simply because I am a romance reader first and foremost. And there are so many great books coming out next year. I am so excited for them. A lot of them are by my favorite romance authors, and a few of them actually have more than one book coming out, which makes me feel so spoiled. So yeah, I am very excited. They're not going to be in order, but I will put up the date that they're going to be released on the screen as well, so you can see that. But the very first book, and I know for a fact this is the first one coming out, is Big Borrow by Sarah Adams. And Sarah Adams has written some of my favorite romance books of all time. And the one that is being released in January is the third book in her series taking place in Rome, Kentucky. And the first two books in this series I gave 5 stars. I actually reread them this year and I gave them 5 stars again. So I am so beyond excited for this one coming out. And the third book is about Emily, who is the oldest sister in this group of siblings. So we've had a book about Noah, who's the older brother. We've had one about Annie, who's the youngest sister. And now we're going to get Emily, who's the oldest sister. And she's like a classic type A person. And she's a teacher and she's also a romance author on the side, but that's kind of a secret. And one of her old nemesis, he returns to the city and he's also a teacher, so they're going to have to work side by side. And he turns out also to be an author on the side. And for some reason, her manuscript ends up in the wrong hands and she has to get help from her nemesis to get the manuscript back because he's the only one who can help her. So it's going to be a rivals to lovers story, and both of them are teachers, both of them are writers. I just think it sounds amazing and I really like Emily, so I'm so excited to read this book. I can't wait. The next book is coming out in the end of January, and that is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonam-Young. She was an author that I got introduced to this year, and I've read, I think, all of her books. I know for a fact that I gave 2 of them 5 stars, so I am really excited about this one. It's about this couple. They got married when they were 19, but they have slowly started to grow apart, or at least become different people from who they used to be. And they signed up for this 7 days hiking couple retreat for couples who need to work through their issues. And I guess they find themselves and they find each other during this trip. And I am just really excited about it. And I just know that I'm gonna love it because I love the characters that she writes. I'm just gonna say I'm excited about all of these books because that's the reason why they're on this list. I'm so sorry. Then we have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, and she's the author behind Love Light Farms and that entire series. If you know that, this is the first book in a new series, and it's a love letter to Sleepless in Seattle, which is so nostalgic to me. That's a movie I watched a lot when I was younger. Okay, I've read the description for this book so many times, I still don't think I quite understand it, but it is Sleepless in Seattle inspired, so I know for a fact we're gonna have people on a radio show and people talking about their love life, I guess. I'm just really excited. I also love the cover of this book. She actually has another book that's coming out this year, and I forgot the title. And I also forgot what it's about, but it's a Christmas book, so I think I'm gonna talk about it later on during the year. But I'm going to put up a picture of the book. It just looks really good. But yeah, she has 2 books being released next year and it makes me feel so spoiled. I am very excited about it. Then we have Left of Forever by Tarah Dewitt. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And she's also an author I discovered this year. And I think I've given most of her books 5 stars as well, actually. I'm going to talk about her books in my next video where I'm going to talk about my favorite reads of the year and maybe also my most disappointing ones. But her books are on some of my favorite reads. So I'm very excited about this one as well. And this one is a second chance romance. And that's just one of my favorite tropes. It also takes place on a road trip, which is also one of my favorite things. So it just seems like it's a lot of good things combined. But it's about this couple who got a kid together when they were very young, but now they're divorced. And now that he is starting college, they've decided to drive there together in order to help him move into his dorms, I think. And then throughout this journey and throughout this road trip, and I think it's from Oregon to California, they kind of like rekindle their relationship. Tarah Dewitt writes very layered and very real people, and I've just enjoyed her books so much. So I have a feeling this one is going to be amazing too. And I also enjoy her covers so much. I don't know, like they're the typical romance covers, but they're a little darker, and just like the color scheme is just stunning. So yeah, can't wait. Then we have One Golden Summer by Carley Furtune. She's kind of the author of Summer Lake books. I think that's what they're kind of defined as. She's released 3 so far. I read all of them this year. She kind of releases one every summer, and this is going to be 2025's book. And it's going to be about the older brother of the very first book that she wrote about, like in this like summer series, if you can call it that. If you've read Every Summer After, it is the older brother in that book. And it's from the perspective of this woman called Alice, who is a photographer, and she has seen him when he was younger. And because she's a photographer, she's really good at seeing people, but she also feels very seen by him. So I guess a love story is gonna just develop from there on. Then we have Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. And I read one of her books this year as well, Ready or Not, which I really enjoyed. It's about a girl who's lost her best friend to cancer, and she is struggling in life. The only jobs she can really hold down are babysitter jobs. And she gets this very nice job with a single mom and her daughter that she gets along with very well. But the little girl's uncle is very moody and like just a jerk. Not promises her that he can help her with a list she's made in order to start living life again. And he will help her with that list if she can help him get a better relationship with his sister and his niece, who our main character gets along with very well. Sounds really good, and I really like the way she wrote characters in her other books, so I have a feeling I'm gonna like this one as well. Then we have 2 more romance books, and the first one is Say You'll Remember Me by Abbey Jimenez. And I think Abbey Jimenez has sort of become one of the top romance authors as well, and I love that because her books are amazing. The book she released this year, called Just for the Summer, was one of my favorite books of the year. It's about these 2 people who go on a date, and they have the perfect date. And the guy, he seems almost like too perfect to be real. But the woman is going through some issues in her family and in her life, so she's not ready for a relationship right now. So she kind of tells him to forget about her, and they just have to look back on this date as the perfect date, and then that's all it's going to be. But then obviously they can't stay away from each other, and they keep running into each other. And just from the way that Abbey Jimenez writes real life situations in such a real but also beautiful way, makes me so excited about this one. And the men that she writes are just perfection, so I am keen on reading that one. And then finally, we have a book by the romance author, and that's of course Emily Henry, and her book being released next year called Great Big Beautiful Life. And this one is also about 2 authors, so sort of like book lovers. And I'm just gonna go and read what it's about because I forgot everything. Oh, okay, so I just read what it's about, and it sounds amazing. I mean, obviously it's Emily Henry, but now I'm even more excited. So it's about 2 authors, and they're invited to this island where a woman who has been a former socialite but hasn't been seen in recent years, she is putting them through this trial, so one of them will win the honor of writing her biography. Our main character, she is not a well-known author, but her competitor is. They are competitors, but they also realize that they're getting different stories from this woman, and because of their NDAs, they can't say anything about it. So now I'm just really curious about the plotline for this woman's autobiography, and I'm like very curious about her life in general. It sounds really intriguing and a little different maybe from the regular Emily Henry books, just because it sounds like here we have a third person who's kind of a big part of the book, which I'm so excited about. So it sounds like there are like several plots in this, just like the romance plot, but also like who is this woman, what has happened. I'm very excited about that. I have yet to read an Emily Henry book and give it less than 5 stars. So I have high hopes for this one. And then finally, I have 2 more books. One of them is a graphic novel. I'm not going to talk about it for too long because I've already talked about it several times. But that is The Raven Boys is going to come out as a graphic novel. Insane. Absolutely insane. I am so excited about this. And I guess that means we're going to get 4 graphic novels because there are 4 books in the series. And it seems like they're following each book. And I'm just so excited. Like, I've read the books 3 times now, so I feel like it's time for a graphic novel that I can reread 3 times as well. I'm not gonna say too much. It's just gonna follow the first book in the Raven cycle. So excited about that. Oh, sorry. Actually, there are 2 more books. Maggie Stiefvater is also releasing a book called The Listeners, and that's gonna be, I think, her first non-YA book, which I am very interested into. I just love the way she writes. Like, if I could annotate her entire books, I would do that because she just has a very, very magical way with words. And I always reread her paragraphs so many times. I want to have them like running through my veins. They're that good. Okay, I just had a look at the description of the book. I don't think I can retell that at all. But what I can say is that it's a fantasy and it's a historical fiction novel. And it also has magical realism in it. So that sounds really interesting. I am so curious to see how she's gonna write an adult fiction book instead of her classic YA, because I think she writes YA books so well. I have no doubt that she's gonna do a very good job with this one too, but I'm just very curious to see this, also because it has part of like historical events in it. So this takes place during the Second World War. So that is interesting. But I am very, very curious about this one. And then I actually forgot there's one other book that I'm super excited about. It's by another one of my favorite authors, Schwab. And she is releasing a queer vampire historical fiction something. Okay, I need to read this out loud, otherwise I'm gonna forget the numbers. But the book is called Bury Our Burns... Nope, it's not. Bury Our... I don't know why this is a tongue twister, it's really not. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight. I was so close. No. It's so embarrassing because when you hear this title, you're like, that's not even hard to pronounce. What is wrong with you? Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I think I got it right. This is a fantasy vampire queer novel, which sounds like absolute perfection. It takes place in 3 different timelines with 3 different women. So one is in 1532, and that is in, I think it's in Spain. And then one part of the timeline is in London in 1837. And then finally it's in Boston 2019. And then these 3 women are like tangled into each other in some way. I can just read like a small paragraph from here because that's all it says. That's why I don't know a lot about this book. But it says, 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high and one grows deep and one grows wild. And all of them grow teeth. I am very excited about that. It's basically all my favorite authors that are releasing new books this year, and a lot of them haven't released books in quite a while, so that's why I'm just extra excited about these ones. So those were all the books that I am really, really excited about for 2025 so far. I bet a lot of other books are gonna pique my interest during the year, and I'll get back to them because I'll probably do some videos on those. I would love to hear if you're curious about any of these books as well, or also waiting impatiently for them to be released. And if none of these really spoke to you, then I'm just curious to hear what other books you have on your radar. But that will be all for now. I will try to upload another video before the end of the year. But I hope you've had a great holiday season, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Oh, and if you think the quality is better, it's because it is. I am finally recording this on my camera. I also got a ring light for Christmas, so hopefully my videos are gonna have better lighting from now on and also better quality. Fingers crossed, but it's very exciting to be recording this camera.